216 pounds, Gable Steveson!
Two-time All-American at Minnesota. Two-time NCAA champion.
One of the most explosive athletes this earth has ever seen.
Two University of Minnesota wrestlers are in jail tonight in the midst of a sexual assault investigation.
To have that Kurt Angle hype is really good. I mean, it drives me to be better than he is. And if I don't reach that point, I know I tried and did my best.
Gable Steveson was one of the most hyped WWE prospects in the last decade or so. A two-time NCAA heavyweight champion and Olympic gold medalist, his legendary amateur wrestling background instantly drew comparisons to another Olympic hero in Kurt Angle, and WWE didn't shy away from letting fans know about it. Fast forward to 2024, however, and he was let go from the company after having just one lackluster televised match under his belt. So what exactly happened? How can someone so heavily endorsed by WWE as the next big thing end up doing basically nothing of note throughout his entire run? There were a lot of things that went wrong in Gable's short WWE career, but in order to understand just how big of a deal he was, let's look back at when he first rose to prominence. Named after the greatest amateur wrestler of all time, Gable Dan Steveson chose to attend college close to home at the University of Minnesota in late 2018 as part of the Golden Gophers wrestling program. As the nation's top recruit, it didn't take long for him to dominate the amateur wrestling scene, opening his first regular season with an impressive 14-0 record before ranking as high as 3rd place in the NCAA Division I National Championships. This performance would earn him the status of All-American, and all of this he accomplished in just his freshman year. However, as fast as he was rising through the ranks, his career almost ended just as quickly less than a year later. On June 15th of 2019, Steveson and another Minnesotan wrestler were arrested after a woman had reported that she had been sexually assaulted by the two men and had to get treatment in a hospital. A formal investigation was launched shortly after, with both getting suspended from all team activities during this time. And about 6 months later, the suspension would be lifted along with the charges getting dropped due to quote-unquote inadequate evidence. After this whole debacle though, Gable would come back even stronger than before, training with another legendary Minnesotan wrestler and fellow allegations recipient Brock Lesnar. This training proved to be invaluable as he went undefeated in his sophomore season and won his first major title in the form of the Big Ten Championship. By this point, Gable had unsurprisingly been named the #1 ranked heavyweight in the entire country. He was initially scheduled to compete in the national championships and the Olympic trials, but then the pandemic happened and those events had to be postponed. Much like Roman Reigns, however, Gable would use this COVID break to attain God mode, now sporting an even bigger physique that could rival the Beast incarnate. And once competition had resumed again by late 2020, he would show the world just how unstoppable he'd become, bullying his opponents with his sheer size and strength en route to another perfect season. Gable capped off his junior year by winning his second Big Ten championship, his first national title, and the Dan Hodge Trophy for being America's best college wrestler of the year. During the off-season, he competed in the rescheduled Olympic trials where he ran through basically everybody, earning the right to represent the United States in the 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo, Japan. And as you already might have guessed, on August 5th of 2021, Gable Steveson shocked the entire world by bringing home the gold medal after a nail-biter of a match, becoming the first and youngest American super heavyweight to win freestyle Olympic gold since 1992. With an insane amount of pedigree at just 21 years old, his stock skyrocketed, garnering interest from major sports promotions including the NFL and UFC. And just a month removed from his big win, Gable took an important step for his future as the Olympic hero would sign with the WWE in its first ever next-in-line deal. Now, this deal was very important for Gable as it allowed him to still finish his collegiate wrestling career while being a WWE superstar. As if the hype couldn't get any bigger, on the 2021 WWE Draft, he would get selected by Raw as a surprise last pick of the final round. However, before Gable could even make his debut, fans have already started turning on the Olympic hero. Remember those allegations from earlier? Well, in late 2021, news of the issue would resurface once again, with Gable catching heat on social media, leading to him issuing a statement on the matter, basically denying all of the accusations. Despite the online drama, he would return to college and finish his senior year strong, adding another Big Ten and national championship to his belt, while also being awarded the Dan Hodge Trophy for the second year in a row. And after wrapping up one of the greatest collegiate wrestling careers of all time, Gable would now turn his focus back to WWE. During the celebration between RK Bro and the Street Profits at WrestleMania 38, Gable got invited to the ring to join in on the drinking. However, resident sore loser Chad Gable didn't take too kindly that another Gable is stealing his spotlight, so he tried to shush the Olympic hero and got suplexed for his efforts. While it was a fun little segment to showcase their big new signing, the original plans would have had Gable doing way more than that. Speaking to Ariel Halwani for BT Sport, Triple H revealed initial plans of him having a physical altercation with Gable at WrestleMania and putting the young prospect over big time. Sadly, those got scrapped when the game suffered a heart attack and had to announce his retirement during the event instead. Regardless, the segment that did happen looked to set up Gable's first feud in the main roster, but instead, he just vanished from live programming, barely getting mentioned by WWE after WrestleMania. Word around was that he needed more time to learn the ropes as a professional wrestler, which was pretty much confirmed by Mr. Kennedy Ken Anderson in July of 2022, as the former WWE superstar would share a positive update on the young prospect's training progress. It wouldn't be until December of that year that we would see Gable on TV again, not on Raw where he was drafted, but on SmackDown confusingly enough. During the episode, he would play an important role in Kurt Angle's birthday celebration and even got to recreate that infamous milk truck segment with the Hall of Famer. As if the Kurt Angle comparisons weren't already apparent, WWE decided to double down on it by pairing the two Olympic heroes in a segment, hoping that this would give the rub to Steveson. So how did they follow this up? By having him disappear again, I guess. At this point, fans started to wonder if or when Gable would actually show up to Raw, and it would take another 6 months till we'd see the young prospect again on TV. At NXT Gold Rush 2023, Gable would appear on a backstage segment offering to help Eddie Thorpe prepare for an NXT Underground match with Damon Kemp, who is Gable's older brother in real life. And on the following episode of NXT, a training montage was shown between the two, with Eddie asking Gable to be on his corner for the match. The partnership would end up paying off as Thorpe would beat Kemp via TKO after a brutal and hard-hitting fight. Things got even more interesting after the match as Gable would put on a show of dominance, taking everyone who dared step up to him to Suplex City. Later that night, he was asked about his future, whether he would stay on NXT or go after another Olympic gold medal, which led to him finally making a decision on the July 25th edition of NXT. But before he was able to make the announcement though, he was interrupted by none other than Baron Corbin, who actually gave him some sound advice.
I say go back to college. Win another national championship. You don't belong here.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
This ended up making Gable's decision easier as he challenged Corbin to a match at Great American Bash before delivering a message of his own. And with this promo, Gable finally cemented his place on the NXT roster while also setting up his debut match. And it only took 2 years to happen. Finally, after all that hype and anticipation, the WWE Universe will see what the Olympic gold medalist was all about. Unfortunately, the match crashed and burned as soon as the bell rang. The crowd made their dislike of Gable very clear from the get-go, cheering for Corbin and throwing the "You're Not" angle chants at Gable, much to his dismay. It also didn't help that he still looked very green on the ring, which led to the veteran Corbin controlling most of the offense throughout the match. And after a few minutes of underwhelming action, Gable's debut match would end in the most baffling way, a double countout. This would lead to a brawl breaking out with the Olympian standing tall. While the match clearly did not live up to the hype, that brawl in the end was definitely meant to further the feud between the two, right?
Nope.
Turns out, this would be Gable's first and last televised match ever, as after working just a couple of house shows for NXT, it was reported in September of that year that he was cut from the roster entirely. This news also came in as a shock as WWE had just pulled him out from competing in that year's Freestyle Wrestling World Championships, which he qualified for, leaving his future in dire question. And after a dead silent rest of the year for Gable, he would later be spotted working a couple of dark matches on SmackDown SmackDown at the start of 2024, which seemed to signal a main roster call-up. However, those speculations quickly went down the drain as on May 4th of 2024, he would be one of the several talents released by WWE as part of the post-WrestleMania cuts. And with that, the Olympic Hero's failed WWE run would finally come to a close. His future currently remains uncertain at the moment, with UFC likely being his next venture. Hopefully, this one would turn out better. So how bad was Gable Steveson in WWE actually? Well, if I was to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give his run a 1 out of 10. Let me explain why. I'll go out on a limb here and say that Gable might be the biggest bust in recent WWE history. Sure, there have been other busts before who did way less, but I don't think I've ever seen someone with this much hype, this much potential, and this much pedigree fail on a level like he did. And while we can put all of the blame on Gable for not panning out like he was supposed to, be it for a lack of motivation or the allegations from his past, at the end of the day, WWE also played a role in his failure, drafting him to Monday Night Raw when they very well knew that he wasn't ready or had no concrete plans for him was almost a death sentence for his career. Instead of using him in pointless segments and then having him disappear for months on end, WWE should have sent Gable to NXT in the first place, gave him an actual gimmick, not just Kurt Angle 2.0, and have him sink or swim with the other young talents there. If anything, Gable Steveson is proof that being a pro wrestler is very hard and not everyone can pick it up just as quickly like Logan Paul and Bad Bunny did. So I guess that means Corbin has now taken out 2 Olympic gold medalists? That's gotta be a record or something. Anyway, if you watch this video all through the end, let me know by saying he's not Angle in the comments below. And if you wanna see one of the biggest gimmick flops in WWE history, check out the next video in your screen. See you there.